What is up, Pyromaniacs? Pyrostasis here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys basically a mining guide or a mining tutorial. We're going to cover some of the basics to intermediate options, and I'm going to show you guys my current setup and how to make a pretty good profit. If you don't do some things right, you're going to end up wasting your time when it comes to mining. If you've watched my Let's Play series, you'll notice that the episode I posted, I think it was 2 in my series, I went out and mined for like 45 minutes and ended up pulling like almost nothing in credits. So this guide will show you guys how to make quite a bit of money. It may not be the fastest way, but it is probably the best way to do profit making with mining. So first off, the first thing you're going to do before you start mining is you need to find a system. You need to find a system that's worth it. There's a ton of different types of systems, mineral values and things along those lines, and I'm just going to kind of walk you through some of the basics. So I'm here in HIP 94905, kind of outing my little system here, which may or may not come back to bite me in the ass once this video goes live, but I'll most likely end up moving along so that you guys can enjoy this system and I'll find myself a nice another system. But anyways, here you go. When you pulled up the system menu like this, you're going to see everything that's currently in the system. You're going to be aiming for asteroids and gas giants with rings. These are what you're looking for. So if you click on this asteroid belt down here, you're going to see it is a metal rich with pristine reserves. Now there's a bunch of different types of setups you can find. Metal rich is the second to top tier. That basically means there is a lot of metals, but there's also other stuff. And then metallic is what you're actually looking for. If you'll notice here, metallic is the top end. Pristine reserves is also the top end. So this belt right here, the AA belt, is the highest density of ores and the highest density of the best materials. So when you mine here, for instance, like let's say, let me see if I can find one that doesn't have pristine reserves. Let's just pull up a random system here if we can find one that I have explored. Okay, so let's say we pull this one up, and of course it doesn't have a anything in it. That's 2 in a row. Can we go for 3? Can we go for 3? Let's try this one here. Oh my god. See, this is the problem with doing videos on one take live is you end up with oopses. Okay, so right here you can see this is a ring type. It's rocky with common reserves. So common reserves is going to be, I believe that's middle tier. So there's 5 different tiers. There's low, common, and then there's large reserves, and then there's pristine. Pristine is the top end. It's what you're looking for. Common is just kind of meh. And the difference between common and pristine is going to be the percentage you're going to get per each ore mined. And I'll show you guys that here in a minute. But when you're mining the ores, you're shooting a laser into a rock and stuff is flying off. And each of those little chunks of ore is going to have a percentage in it. So if it's 5%, that means you're going to need 20 pieces of ore to make 1 ton. If there's 40%, then you're going to need 2.5 to get 1 ton. So that's what you want to be looking for is the best setup you can get. So pristine and metallic is the top end. That's what you're looking for. So the other thing that you want to make sure is you also want to make sure that there are places you can sell to in the system that you're going to. Having an amazing setup like this isn't going to do you any good if you can't sell to it. Now, obviously, you can jump to a different system to sell if you so choose, but you got to understand that every time you do that, you've got the transit time that's slowing you down. So the faster you can get to the belt, mine, get back to the station, sell, and then back to the belt to mine again, you're going to increase your profit margin. You can also mine from rings. I have not done this yet. I'm still fairly new to Elite Dangerous. I'm assuming it's very similar to just going out to the asteroids and shooting them, which we'll get to here in just a second. All right, so let's talk about the ship setups that you're going to need. I am flying for this video just the stock ship. I've made some improvements to it. I think I've spent about 80,000 into my ship here. You can get started for about 18 grand will get you started with mining because you're going to need 2 specific pieces of hardware. First off, you're going to need a mining laser. Mining laser is obviously going to do the mining. It's going to shoot the rock and things are going to spew out of it. Got to have one of these. I have two. You don't have to have two. You can do it just fine with one. The more you have, the faster you'll mine. The faster you can pick stuff up, the faster you can move along. Keep in mind, though, my ship is pretty much designed 100% for mining. So I have 0 defense, I have 0 offense, and if I get caught, I'm dead. It's not really that big a deal because, you know, at the moment I'm new. This is a low-cost ship, and if I die, I can make the entire cost of my ship back in like one run with insurance. Now, the other two things that you're going to need are you're going to need as much cargo capacity as you can possibly get, and then you're going to need a refinery. Now, there's different types of refineries. A few things you want to be very, very careful when you're buying your refinery, and let me see if I can find one here. Okay, you can see right here it says refinery. It's cost me $6,000. This is pretty much the lowest tier that you can get. This is what I started with. The thing you want to like very close attention to is refinery bins. Refinery bins. This is how many different material types your refinery can work on at one time. So if you have one bin, you can only smelt one ore type. So let's say you pull a chunk of ore and it's got gold and iridium in it, then you can only pick gold or iridium. You can't have both. So you'll smelt the gold and you'll kick the iridium out, which is basically wasting ores. It's not necessarily a bad thing if you're cherry picking and you only want the top end, but at the same time, if you get maybe something that has 2 good ores and you don't want to waste, if you've only got one bin, you're wasting the space. I mean, you're literally shooting yourself in the foot. Now, some of the other stuff that you're going to want to look into possibly getting, let's see, go back. The power distributor, this, if you upgrade this, it can help get power to the different systems in your ship. It makes it a little bit more efficient. And the power plant, obviously the bigger the reactor, the longer you can shoot, the faster things recharge, and that can help out. I've also stripped this thing down. I've removed my shields for an additional 4 cargo capacity, which gives me a total of 8-ton capacity. Be careful doing that. I only play open, so it's only a matter of time until somebody frags me, especially if I decide to stay in the system after posting this video. I'm sure at least a couple of you will come hunt me down. So I'm most likely going to relocate, but keep in mind, if you gear yourself 100% for hauling, you'll make more money per run, but it's only a matter of time till somebody interdicts you and you get popped, or you accidentally screw up and bump into something a little too fast. You have to be very, very careful when you don't have your shields up because you're basically paper mache. So once you have your refinery, once you have your mining lasers, then you basically just set a course and head out to the mine. So let's head out now. All right, so once you arrive at your location, you can do this before you arrive as well. Make sure if you've just bought your mining lasers that you have them set to a fire group, otherwise you can't deploy them and it's not going to do you any good. Second, once you get out here, it's kind of a good idea to take a look at the field. You can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 5 asteroids here, which is kind of funny because that doesn't really seem like much of an asteroid belt to me. But take a look at the layout. You don't want to start in the middle and then get kind of confused as things go on. I usually like to start at one side and work my way to the other because you will burn through all of the materials at a given spot. So not only that, but different asteroids can have different materials. So if you're looking for a specific type, you can bounce around to all of the asteroids in the belt, see which one you like and which one's got the stuff that you're looking for, and you can go from there. For this tutorial, we're just going to mine the first one that we bump into and get squared away. Now, you're going to have to get fairly close to the thing, so be careful. Don't slam into the thing, especially if you've disabled your shields. And you can use your lasers to kind of get close, and you can see when you're hit. When you see that little spark there, that means you're good to go. I usually kick everything over to weapons. I'll make sure you keep an eye on your little radar there in case anybody decides to come pay you a visit, because you are a sitting duck, literally. The other thing you want to take into account is the rotation of the asteroid. You can see this asteroid is rotating kind of like this right here. Left to right on my screen right now. So if we mine like this, things are going to spew off in a certain direction. As the thing rotates, it can get worse and worse, so you want to be careful that you're getting it to where you want it to be. And you notice my lasers overheated pretty rapidly. That's part of the reason I've got 2 lasers. Is with one laser I can run it non-stop. With 2, they're faster, but they overheat significantly faster. Obviously, if you're in a bigger, better ship, you may not have that problems. It won't take you long to upgrade here. Okay, so the other thing you want to keep in mind is these little pieces of floating metal here. If you notice in the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to see that chunk there. Underneath it is a percentage. See that percentage? It's 83. That's how long until that thing despawns. You don't want to give it too long because it will disappear. Deploy your cargo scoop and scoop the first piece of material. Then stop and swap over here. You're going to see... Whoops. You're going to see in your cargo hold, we have two hoppers. So we've got Galite and Betrandite. Neither of these are particularly worthy of selling. In fact, most of these are kind of garbage loots. They're going to sell for about 1,000 to 2,000 a piece, which isn't really that good. We're looking for palladium, platinum, and gold. Those are the three big ones. There's a couple others that aren't bad, but for the sake of this video, we're going to go ahead and, well, no, we're going to bounce to the other rock. I'm going to find us some good material so I can show you guys how much we can make. All right, so as you can see at this one, we're getting silver. Silver is a little bit better material, especially since it usually is accompanied by something else. But I'm happy with silver. It's again, not the best, but it's not going to suck too badly. And we can make a decent amount of coin with it. So we're just going to pull on this for a couple seconds. Let several of these pop out into space so that we can collect them all at one time. There we go. And you can play around with it. Keep in mind the direction that your lasers are moving, the direction your ship is moving, and the direction that the asteroid is rotating will affect where these pieces of ore go flying off. So let's go ahead and deploy our scoop again, and let's pick this guy up. Again, be careful, because you don't want to bounce off the asteroid. You're moving pretty close to asteroids in this. And sometimes you'll feel like you're going to pop, you're going to hit it, but you're actually not. There's a little bit more distance than you realize is in there. Alright, once you've got it picked up, you're going to see we have silver and indite. Now we have two bays down here in the bottom, so I can actually mine both of these. So we're going to select both of them. The hopper's now empty. That means both ores have been mined, or refined, and we're just going to fly around and pick the rest of these up. Now the percentage that is on these is the percentage to move to a full piece of unit. Now, we're supposed to be in a pretty dense field. We're supposed to be making pretty good returns here, but the ores in this location, for whatever reason, seem to be fairly low. You can see we're only getting 3 or 4%. I don't know if we're just really, really unlucky, which is definitely possible given, you know, my experiences, or if this has already been mined or something, and maybe it's the respawn's low. I'm not sure. I don't really know how all this stuff works. One of the nice things, though, is you'll notice that I'm not having to go in here all of the time to reset this. It's kind of handling it on its own. So once you've got the stuff selected, it will straight up do it on its own. You just have to pick it up until it's full. Once it's mined one of the units, it's going to kick you back out, and then you have to redo it again. So I'm going to fly around and pick all of these up, and once we get done with this, I'll show you guys how to head back to base, sell, and what kind of profits you're looking at. Now you're going to notice this asteroid here has a much higher percentage. We're pulling 36% there, 42% here, as opposed to 6 to 8 at the other location. This is the kind of yields that you're going to see in a good field. And you just want to bounce around to the different rocks until you find one that's good. Keep in mind, these only have a certain amount of ores in them, so eventually while using your lasers on them, they're going to dry up, and you're going to stop getting anything when you fire your lasers. When that happens, don't worry about it. Just move on to the next rock or move on to the next belt. Once you've scooped everything, your cargo hold is going to fill up over here on the right. You can see we've got 6 tons of silver and 2 tons of bertrandite. I can dump the bertrandite if I want by coming over here and dumping it. The hoppers right here, you can dump these hoppers if you want. It all kind of depends on how you feel. You can also leave this stuff in here and kind of swing back by afterwards. It's up to you. Just realize that anything that's in space is most likely not going to be there by the time you get back around. So keep that in mind. All right, so we're gonna head back to system real quick and see how much we make. All right, once you land on the station, you want to go to the commodities market, and you want to sell your stuffs. You can see easily what you've got in your cargo hold if you, for whatever reason, forgot. You can see that our bertrandite is selling for 2,866, which isn't really all that great, but I'm not going to complain too much. And you can see silver is selling at a much better rate of 5,000 a piece, which means by dumping all of that, we're at roughly 44K for the run. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. If I had found gold or palladium or platinum, or had simply dropped the Bertrandite and just picked up more silver, I'd have been in a better position. I would highly recommend you take a screenshot or write down some of the higher end values on here before you head out. That way you know what is good. Alternatively, you can also store it up and then go and figure out where the best area is to sell. And if it's worth the trip to you, you can go to a place where it's even more valuable than it is here. Obviously, certain systems are going to have better prices than this one. Just keep in mind that you got to do the travel time as well, and if you're flying around, you're not mining, which slows you down even more. So for a new player, this isn't a bad way to make cash. It's low combat oriented. That means most of the time you're not going to die unless you just bump into a really bad situation, and most of the time if you're fast and you juke, you might be able to get out alive. You might be able to get out alive. But as you can see, you know, 44,000 bucks, that will easily cover the cost of a ship replacement at this stage. Later on, obviously, that's not going to be the case. But later on, you'll also be able to hold, you know, 32 tons of stuff at a time. Anyways, guys, hopefully you found this mining tutorial helpful. If you did, please slap that like button. Make sure you subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next clip.